Today in the crypto space, we see some green price action throughout the market. Bitcoin right around 60,000, Ethereum right back to about $3,000. However, guys, we see the altcoins outperforming the heavyweights. Solana doing pretty good, Polkadot, Matic, Toncoin, and Arweave nice in the green, and many others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is ready to move and perhaps bottomed out, and that project is called SCRT. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on with the market. Generally speaking, we can see, we're getting a bit of relief. Of course, the altcoins are looking pretty good. And we talked about this yesterday during the live stream. We were talking about a potential short-term bounce because as of now, the daily is still looking quite negative. We haven't getting any confirmations of a reversal on the daily, but the 4 hours looking okay. And that means that we could get a bit of relief to the upside, but be prepared for profit taking sooner than later based on your short-term spot positions. We can see that the overall market cap is kind of climbing to the higher levels, still at about $2.3 trillion, but the volume is coming down while that's happening. That means that overall the market is not really in consensus here. There's not a lot of strength in this run to the upside, so we're getting a bit of relief. Now, what would make me bullish? We'll talk about the setup on Bitcoin. Of course, we're going to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. And I do want to talk about a hot narrative, a project that is part of a hot narrative, which is the privacy coin narrative, the privacy projects, right? We're talking about SCRT today. And SCRT is definitely one of those projects that a lot of people are talking about lately. It could be one of the major privacy projects out there for this up and coming bull run. So today I did buy the dip. I did gain some exposure to the asset class, given the fact that I am exposed to the asset class. So SCRT it is, definitely at the bottom of the range, perhaps looking at a bounce any moment now. All right, guys, let's kind of scrape through the top 100, then we'll jump right into some charts. Bitcoin up 3%, Ethereum up 1.8%, and if you keep on going down, you can see the altcoins showing a bit of strength here. Definitely outperforming a lot of the Bitcoin and Ethereum for that matter, which is pretty good. You could see even Polkadot. That's very surprising to see Polkadot wake up with such strength, up 7%, healthy for sure. Uniswap 2%. But we can see overall, the market is up, I would say about 5% on average. We have Immutable X, IMX up 10%. Render is up 3.5%. Filecoin up 5%. Filecoin was looking great the last little while for a potential bounce. It was definitely undervalued in my book. Definitely undervalued. Optimism, a nice 7%. I would like to see Ethereum show optimism and Arbitrum a bit of confirmation. We need Ethereum to, start climbing to those higher levels. I wouldn't mind buying in on Sui. Sui's going sideways. I know the bears what they're going to be talking about. We're looking at this as a bear flag. After an impulsive move to the downside, a bit of a consolidation means that we'd likely get a continuation to the downside here for Sui, given the fact that it's been down approximately 10% in the last 7 days, means that maybe we come down further unless we get horizontal support. I want to buy the dip on Sui, so I'm waiting for the optimal opportunity. BitTensor getting a nice bounce, of course. BitTensor, such a strong project, building a bottom. We have to wait for it to build its bottom, and then we can get in with some confidence. But you can see the general market is still looking healthy, guys. Arweave is up 24%, guys, 24%. Great project. It is at approximately $2 billion market cap. How much more could it do? That's the question. I think it's a little bit on the mature side for me. I like getting into those lower caps, $100 million and low below for sure. When you're talking about the billions, you're looking at less of a possibility of growth. And of course, 10x is probably possible. Of course, but what about the lower caps? They're going to do 10x overnight. And that's why I like to kind of diversify my portfolio into some, low caps, mid caps, even some of these large caps for sure. But the entries have to be much much better, right? I was looking for a better entry on Arweave, and it looks like I missed out on my entry. All good, no worries. I'll look for something else. Celestia getting nice relief to the upside, approximately 5%. Core 7%, and the list goes on. You can see Bonk 10%. So the overall market in general, I would say between an average about 5%. Wormhole, great stuff, 10% pop to the upside. Flare doing good. Many projects are getting a bit of relief. But the question is this just a relief rally? A retracement to the upside before we get a continuation to the downside? And that's possibly what's going to end up happening here, because really the daily is not showing us much confidence of a bottom just yet on the daily. So of course, guys, we'll take a look at some charts. Let's begin our analysis looking at Bitcoin. What's happening here with Bitcoin? What I do like about Bitcoin at this current state is that we are producing a very interesting daily candle. If we close the candle the way we are, it does look like a nice tweezer bottom right here. You know, these two little wicks right here look like a nice reversal, and if you get into higher time frames, it's going to look like a nice wick for sure. But the question is this just the beginning of a bounce where we potentially get rejected out of the previous resistance and previous support and use it as resistance at about 60,900 and then come down to lower levels? Or are we finally just gonna, blow right back to previous highs and get into price discovery? Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Honestly, it's about being prepared for any scenario. And I know that, it's easier said than done. But the reality is I am not totally convinced yet that we have hit a bottom. We need more price action on the daily. There's not enough data, right? Look what happened last time. Few bottoms, great. We got relief. We come down for a lower low. Yeah, do we come up, few bottoms, get some relief, go up, come down for another lower low? It's all possible. Why? Because the trend is your friend until the end. And it's very clear that in the short term, we do have a trend. We do have a trend to the downside. We're making lower lows and lower highs. We made another lower low, guys. So the next relief that we do get, the bears are going to think of it as a lower high opportunity and start shorting right around, let's say, the golden pocket 786, 886 retracement to the upside, which means that we're going to have a bit of sell pressure upon, this retracement if and when we do get one. Now, what does that mean? That means that we're going to have another attempt for another low. And that would be interesting if we start getting some nice signs of bullish divergence. And, for big picture, that takes time, guys. That takes time to make a pivot point around this level. Now, we're going to analyze the momentum to see if there's any bullish divergence into these two bottoms. I don't think there is, but we'll take a look. But ultimately, what we want is some sort of structure right down here that suggests that the bears are done pushing down. And it's way, way too early to anticipate that with the current data available. We still have a volume gap, an empty space right into this zone, suggesting that we can fall a little bit lower. And of course, DCAing is probably the best strategy at the current moment, because you never know, we could get a bit of relief and maybe even blow right past all of this. That's possible, guys, right? Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but from a statistical probability perspective, guys, look at the momentum. The momentum's still trending to the downside. How can I have confidence of a bounce on the daily with the momentum still pushing down and the volatility in oversold conditions? Now, ideally, yes, you want to get in when the volatility is oversold, but not when the momentum's trending to the downside still. We need to get a bit of a pivot point. Now, this is the thing. We are looking for data. We're looking for clues in the data to suggest a pivot. And I cannot say that that's there. The expansion opened up again. It's coming back down. You can see the expansion wave is back down in the red and pushing down. So what I would like to see is the momentum get oversold. What I would like to see is a sign of bullish divergence. What I would like to see is, the momentum, the wave to eventually taper out and maybe see a nice green momentum wave begin before I get absolutely bullish. Of course, the green dots would be amazing to get some confluence. But guys, we're not even there yet. We're not even remotely close to suggesting that we're getting across to the upside with regards to momentum. And if you look at the prices coming down, and the RSI is still pushing down, the momentum is still pushing down, so meaning that we're in confluence here with momentum trend and price action. No signs of bullish divergence here on the daily. If you look at the overall trend strength and the overall trend, you can see the EMAs are still coming down with a clear direction off of this bearish divergence with the red dot. And we do have many red histogram bars to the downside, obviously, and we got the trend expansion entering a bluish scenario where we're going to come down, potentially start going blue again and getting another trend signal to the downside in the bearish control zone. So guys, again, we're looking at trend and momentum and suggesting that nothing is here to hold us up in this level. There's not even any horizontal support, but again, anything could happen. From a probability perspective, guys, I'm projecting that we continue coming down on the daily. Now, on the 4-hour, different story, right? We could definitely have a short-term bounce. We're getting a bit of volume in this bounce. You can see that nice little bounce. And look at the momentum. Definitely oversold, definitely in oversold conditions, which is healthy. Now, the expansion to the downside on the 4-hour does look like it's trying to taper up, and we could potentially get going here for another bounce to the upside. No real signs of bullish divergence just yet here on these bottoms, but it could happen where we double bottom and we start getting it. We can see that the trend is trying to cross to the upside. EMA is crossing, the trend expansion to the upside is beginning, and we get some green histogram bars with a very nice green dot right here suggesting, look, we got a bit of confidence that we are getting a pivot. I don't like this wave, obviously. Why? Because it invalidated the bullish divergence. We're getting bullish divergence here, and then all of a sudden we got a huge expansion to the downside with regards to trend, suggesting that the trend is still our friend to the downside. So 4-hour is still not even that bullish for me, to be honest. I'm waiting. Now, if we go down to the 1-hour, we might be able to suggest that this is a nice divergent play, which is actually playing out right now. But as you get into lower time frames, guys, the issue is that you can expect that the volatility is going to be short-lived. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get rejected at about 61,100 and come right back down if that were to happen. Now, again, guys, let's try to stay one step ahead. Let's try to not front run markets. There's not much out here suggesting a pivot to the upside just yet. You can get into short-term time frames, again, the 4-hour, the 1-hour, and try to find that pivot for a bit of relief to the upside. But in my opinion, obviously not financial advice, guys, but it's not worth the risk. I'd rather spot trade and chill and find opportunities, do my deep dive research, speculate on good entry positions, like down here at 52. What kind of altcoins could we be buying in? All right, guys, let's jump right into the altcoins. And I know you're here to talk about altcoins, so let's do that. Let's talk about SCRT. SCRT is a project, guys, that I would have definitely looked the other way, and I have been looking the other way on this narrative. The narrative is, of course, the privacy coin narrative. And the privacy coin narrative has a bit of an issue. The issue is that regulation out there doesn't really like, privacy, right? They don't want us to have our privacy. And basically, we have large exchanges that also want to be compliant and don't want to get involved in any narrative that maybe, will give them a hard time with regards to regulation. So they get delisted, they get ignored, and so on and so forth. Now, SCRT is definitely listed on some exchanges, some good ones for that matter. And obviously, this is definitely deep dive worthy. Let me know if you guys want me to do a deep dive on SCRT. Join the Discord and place your request on the deep dive suggestion list on the Discord. But generally speaking here, guys, you can see that risk to reward is in its favor. We got a very nice proof of life right here. We're coming back down for that retracement. And now the question is, do we actually get a nice higher low? A higher low right here would be epic. Now, we did come down for that higher low before. We made that higher high, right? And now all of a sudden, do we come down for a double bottom right here, maybe get a bit of relief and produce a right shoulder? So let me show you what I mean, right? A shoulder can be placed right into here. Let's admit, the risk to reward ratio right now is super healthy. If we fall below 37 cents, we can fall through this little volume gap. It's not the weakest volume gap, but it is there. It is a bit of weakness, right? We can fall right through and come all the way down to the previous low at about 26 cents. Guys, that's the next level where I would be buying the dip. Full disclosure, today I did buy the dip right here. Okay, that's it. I bought a bag and I'm happy with my position, and psychologically and economically, I am preparing myself to buy more down at these levels, right? So I'm making sure that I have capital reserved, and I understand that if we fall through, I'll take it on the chin, and my current allocation is appropriate for the expectation that we could fall through, and I'll be buying the dip and accumulating. Now, of course, stop losses underneath this lows is very clear. If we fall below there, guys, who knows how low we're going to go? We could fall significantly significantly. Now, what about the relief, right? We can see that a great risk to reward ratio. You can put a stop loss underneath this low and walk away, right? Mitigate our risk, small loss, and potentially a decent run to the upside where we can come and match this previous high and make that right shoulder. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, if that were to happen, it's still a bullish scenario. Let's be real about that. It's still a very bullish scenario. Why? It's because we didn't break the neckline. We didn't break this level where we would confirm a lower low, because ultimately a lower low right here would define a change of character in this current structure. What I mean by that is we would make a lower low and then maybe a lower high and then another lower low, and that looks pretty bearish. Now, it could still happen. And that's why I am preparing myself for that buy opportunity down here at about 25 cents, right? So that's something that we need to really understand. But a risk to reward ratio where you can get in with a tight stop loss right around 35 cents with the potential run to this previous high is not a bad idea. And what we're looking at is a potential move of, let's say, on average 50%. Okay, more or less. Let's be modest. Right around here, you take your profit and walk away. That's a 50% bounce with a potential loss that is very small, right? Very, very small in comparison to the potential gains. Now, if you look at the momentum and you look at where we're at right now with momentum, it doesn't look that bad. It looks actually pretty good. And this is why I took a bit of risk today. We are potentially double bottoming here in almost oversold conditions. We're almost there. And you can see the volatility, the momentum is slightly a higher low. Slightly higher low on the purple line, which means that we are currently creating a nice divergence, right? We're doing pretty good here with this divergence because as the momentum is shifting upwards with this higher low, the price action is making a lower low. That's class A bullish divergence right here at horizontal support, a very important horizontal support, because again, this would confirm a structure that we are still in a higher low scenario, not a lower low, higher low in comparison to this low. If we come down, we're testing the point of control and this previous low down here, and not a good look. And the last line in the sand again is at about 23 cents at this yellow previous bottom type of level. Okay, so that's the volatility right now. You can see the momentum is still kind of down here. It's almost oversold like we were in the past. The expansion is was already matured and slowly tapering into the upside, and volatility is oversold. And if we get a pivot in this momentum to the upside, eventually what we'll be doing is trading the volatility alongside the momentum to the upside, and that gives you the optimal condition for a long. Okay, now if we do come down through the volume gap, guys, that's where things really do play out, where you're gonna have to take a little bit more risk and assume that. Now, if you look at the trend got the bearish divergence like every other project in the market did. We didn't get any signs of bullish divergence. We actually see a lot of hesitation, a lot of insecurity and uncertainty in what's happening here. Look at the EMAs, look at the histogram bars, look at the momentum. Everything about this, the waves, the trend waves, everything about this is so indecisive, which means that there's a battle happening. And if the bulls win the battle, we might get a bit of relief. And what an ideal place for the bulls to win this battle, which again is at this horizontal support with some bullish divergence, class A bullish divergence, right? Not bad at all. Okay, so let's jump into the 4 hour, and you can see that it might emphasize it a little bit better. You can see the lower lows on the price action, and if you look at what's happening here, we came down oversold significantly in the last little while. So it's not bad of a scenario, and it would be nice to actually see some follow through out of all of this and get a nice bounce to the upside, given the fact that we've been getting an expansion almost like two back to back. We usually come up and down in two waves because that's where you get your confirmations. 1, 2. Is there bullish divergence? No. 1, 2. Is there bullish divergence? Perhaps. And then you get what I mean. You start looking. We did get bullish divergence into here and we got follow through. Now we're getting some bullish divergence into here. Not really, but on the bigger time frames, on the daily, we are, which is pretty good. So if you're looking at this from a 4 hour perspective, what I would like to do is wait for the volatility to come down and then follow the volatility, the move to the upside alongside the momentum, which is the purple line. Momentum going up and volatility going up. That's when you're trading volatility in the same direction of the momentum of the price action. Bullish. That's exactly what you got to wait for. And that, for me, on the 4 hour perspective, that's when you can take a little bit more risk. And that's what I'm waiting for. That opportunity to see where the bears are going to take the price upon the next impulsive move down. And we might fall through that volume gap and come down to, again, that 25 cent level where I'm really interested to DCA and build a bigger position. Now you can see that the overall trend got its bullish divergence to the upside. We got an EMA cross up with a green histogram bar, which is super good, giving us a bit of confirmation that we're ready to start running on the 4-hour, which is not bad. But again, a little bit more confirmations here and there. You can get in with bigger position size, and that's why today I got in with a small position just to get my feet wet, and I'm happy to accumulate, number one, and I am happy with my position. If it would start running, I will be okay with that. With whatever I got in, I have some exposure without taking too much risk, and if it comes down up to lower levels, I'll be happy to take a little bit more risk in DCA at lower levels. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm and getting the channel going. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.